Can't hear you, Nate.
Forgot. Used the wrong camera on that first one. You can now hear me. I am live here in Indianapolis, Indiana. And today we're going to be talking about the payments revolution. What is this revolution, you may ask? Well, I'm going to bring payment experts who are going to describe it. But really what we're trying to do is, you see the big companies. Just this morning, I saw Salesforce announce that, hey, you don't need to use a third party for your payment transactions through Salesforce. You can use Salesforce payments. Shopify, you want to use Shopify payments. PayPal, use PayPal. Stripe, use Stripe. And what we learn is, and what we know as payment experts here from PayProTec, is that every time a transaction is made, every time a tap is done, a dip is done, a swipe is done, an e-commerce transaction, someone is making a few basis points to up to 1% of that transaction for setting them up to be able to take that. And the question is, who's going to make that money? And in this empowered economy, in this place where we are in this world right now, no matter what you sell or who you sell to, if you're selling to a business, you could be the one that's making that money. And we're going to talk about that today. But it's not going to be just me. I'm a marketing director. What do I know? I'm going to bring two payment experts in here. On the left-hand side of your screen, or excuse me, right-hand side of your screen, I'm in the left-hand side of your screen, is Mr. Danny Shar. Danny, can you tell us in two sentences how long you've been in payments and what excites you about this payments and what we're going to be talking about today?
Yeah, my name's Danny Shard. I'm the VP of Sales here at PayProTec. I'm in my 22nd year, I guess, almost 22nd year in payments. And payments is exciting. It's always evolving. Like Nate said, we're in a revolution right now, and now everybody's trying to jump into payments, even those that haven't been in payments before and have kind of just stayed in their lane. Now everyone's trying to get in, and it's something for all of us to understand, be aware of, be prepared for, so we can go after them.
And to make sure we stay honest in the top of our toes, in the middle part of your screen, also from the office there in Glenwood Springs, Colorado, Jason Cook. Jason, how long have you been in payments, and what does it excite you to bring on new people that have maybe been selling to other types of businesses but selling other products? What excites you to bring those people on and kind of introduce them to payments? Why do you do it?
Yeah, Nate, 12, 15 years now, Dan. I don't know. I've been working with you for as long as I've been in payments. So what's exciting to me about bringing new salespeople into payments, like Danny said, it's evolving. I was going to say it's not a revolution, it's an evolution. Things are changing every single day, but at the heart of what we're doing, we're just trying to help business owners, right? Be successful running their business, save them some money, make some money along the way for us, for our salespeople. So anyone who's already in front of business owners has that relationship. It just makes sense to kind of add this into the toolbox and help them be more successful. Perfect.
Well, and let me jump in. So we'll jump in right away to maybe the elephant in the room. And I'll go with this, Jason Lee, on this for you. There are people on this call, if we did our targeting right, that are watching this video, whether you're watching it live or you're watching a recording of it afterwards, that you are in insurance sales, you're in marketing sales, you're in some other B2B sales. You're selling to businesses, but you're not selling payments. And you're like, I'm not a payments expert. I don't know his payments. Why should they consider, as we start this conversation, why should they consider being in payments, even if they've never even understood that this is something they can sell?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could be Exhibit A. I came from insurance sales. That's how I got started in sales at all, was insurance, and then moved into payments. Excuse me. And I think, you've already built a relationship. You have customers, you have a customer base. They trust you, whether it's insurance or marketing or anything like that. You have trust with them. I think, Nate, I don't want to steal the thunder, but I think you're going to ask Danny about some examples later. I have an office that does security sales. They install security systems. He reached out, we connected, he opened this option up to all of his base and just killed it. Boarded a bunch of business, is making some more money, already has that trust, already has that relationship. It just makes sense to add it in and, continue to build that stickiness for your base.
So as we walk through this, we're going to walk through three different stages as we kind of present to you what the opportunity here in the payments world is. But let me start for those who are watching live. If you put any questions in the chat, we will take those at the end. We are watching. This is live. And if you're watching this after October 14th at 1:10 p.m. and you're somewhere in the future and you're watching this, you can always email partners@payprotec.com and we'll make sure to connect the answers to you, or email any of us. There's lots of ways to connect. We'll talk about that here later. But we're going to be talking talking about, as I bring all three of us back on, about the potential, the process, and the payoff. And we're going to start here with the potential. What is the potential and the opportunity here to do this? And Danny, trust is one of the real reasons that in sales that things get done. You got to build that rapport. You got to build that trust. How does adding payments when you've been selling insurance, or maybe you're doing coaching, or you're doing consulting, or you've been, even some type of physical goods service, your kitchen, large kitchen goods, but you've been selling to businesses. Why does adding payments, when you already have that trust, an easier transition?
It's a really good question, and Jason Lee touched on it with that was a great example, Jason. That's just one of many that we have of partners that have come in to PayProTec and to our partnership with their own businesses, completely separate than payment processing, and brought in and added payments to their dashboard, if you will, to their toolbox, so they can then add another revenue stream, but just another service that they're providing to their merchants. The more, or to their clients, the more services that you're providing to your customers, the more adhesive you have with those customers, right? The less likely you're going to lose them across anything, especially if you have them kind of tangled in with multiple things. So I think it's important for everybody to remember that payments historically has always been something that has been somewhat complex, and I think it was very much intended to be that way. Whereas as payments has evolved, it's been simplified in some ways with pricing structures, with solutions, with integration capabilities, to the point that we still need to remember we're in an unregulated industry, right? So anybody can come in, kind of learn the business and learn how you can play in this pool, if you will, and benefit from it, right? Sign merchants up with it, integrate with different solutions with it, depending on kind of what your merchants are using. There's a lot of different things that people are unaware of within the payment space, and how you can jump into it and financially benefit from it, benefit from your customers signing up with it, and having them as part of your portfolio on this side as well. There's a lot with that folks just don't realize, and that's kind of what Nate's talking about. This payments revolution, more people are jumping into this space. And you should too, right? Nate mentioned Salesforce. Nate mentioned Shopify. These are companies that have historically been arm's length away from payments, and in fact, just you could add payments into their processes. Now it's they're going to do it themselves, and there's a reason for that. There's money in payments, so you should join in on that revolution as well, and make some money with the clients that you have.
Yeah, because what's happening, and the clients you already have, if they're accepting credit and debit cards, someone is making a piece of that. And it may be Stripe, it may be another processor group that's getting to, and maybe Square or one of their competitors. And when you've already built that trust, you could just say, look, you already trust me. Let me set you up with the right solution. Let me make sure that you get all your needs met. And then you're the one who's going to make that portion. Jason Lee, if there's a coach or someone who's already has these trusted relationships with multiple businesses that are processing dollars, and they set them up, what is the revenue opportunity they actually have?
Gosh, the sky's the limit, right? I mean, you've got all different types of businesses out there taking payments, from your retail, liquor stores, restaurants, things like that, to online memberships, subscriptions, things like that. You're diversifying it, but you have opportunities to add payments to every business type, right? Think about how many times you're out there in the world every single day and you pull out your card to pay for something. Like you were saying, somebody's making money there. And so if you're already, like we've said, I hate to be, beating a dead horse here. If you're already interacting with these merchants, whether you're helping them with a marketing campaign, or you're doing their business insurance, or you're whatever it is, being able to go back to them and say, hey, you trust me to do your insurance. You trust me to help you with X, Y, and Z. Let me take a look at your payment processing too, because I can probably save you some money. I can probably do this. We can get you some new hardware. Our team, Danny, myself, our relationship managers, our trainers, we're all here to help. Like Danny was saying, it can be complex, but that's what we're here for. So it feels like you're learning a whole new skill, but you're not. You're learning, you already know how to sell. You already know how to interact with your customers. You're just letting us help you add this in and make some more money.
And as we've been doing, it's kind of walking us through this, we've kind of set up that this is the you know the opportunity is there, but really what we want to talk about a little bit now is what does it look like to actually jump in and kind of do this? So actually it takes one step back because I wanted to we kind of touched on it, and I did have a question in here. Are there other real life examples of some of our partners that, we talked about someone, who's selling security. I think we have quite a few marketing agencies. We have a few people that do sell insurance. Are there other real life examples you can think of people that have been selling other things in the B2B world and then have started adding payments that we could help people kind of understand what the opportunity is?
Gosh, yeah. I mean, there's several. Jace, do you have any off the top of your head? I mean, we've got even merchants that have large operations that have come to us, right? That are setting themselves up, or partners that are working within these large merchant conglomerates. Like one of them, for example, is we've got several large auto dealerships that have come to us and have set themselves up. We've got the insurance agents, I think, are the most popular. We've got some that have been, selling print to businesses, right? Marketing to businesses, web development companies that have come to us because they're already providing these services to businesses. And if you're providing a service to a business owner, it's something that you should absolutely have in your back pocket, and you should be looking into adding payment processing to.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think what we're trying to present here is that the opportunity and the potential is huge. And if you've already done the work to build this relationship, why not add other things? And it's not just payments. I would encourage other things. But the unique thing about payments is that it sets this up as, and I'm going to kind of throw a question in here and Jason Lee as a mix here, but you have an opportunity to make a residual income and even some bonus income. Can you kind of describe what this income can look like and what it would look like if they set up 1, 2, 5 businesses? Maybe they keep setting up more and more over time. What the snowball effect can look like when you actually see as you jump into the process of actually setting up merchants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, Dan said it the other day when we were talking, residuals are, residuals are you're making money when you're sleeping, right? So you set up this merchant account. It takes some work. We get it sold. We get application paperwork in. We get hardware set up, whatever the case is. But once they start processing, barring the few little hiccups here and there, which is what we're here for, tech support, customer service, all of that, you're making money all the time. It's lifetime as long as they're on board and processing. So when you're sleeping, when you're on vacation, when you're here, when you're there, whatever it is, as long as they're processing, you're making money. So you just continue to add those merchants on top of that, right? And before you know it, you're up to $10, $15, $20, $30,000 a month. And yeah, it took a lot of work to get there. It's definitely not waving a magic wand and suddenly we're there. But once it's rolling and once those residuals are paying every month, it kind of is almost self-sustaining.
And let's talk a little bit, and Danny, I'll throw this over at you. Kind of help us understand this payments world. Let's say they go out and Google or they go to ChatGPT and try to understand how payments, they're going to see things like referral relationships and ISOs, and they're going to see processors, and they're going to see a lot of terms they want to understand. Where would a person who is a sales professional who's been selling other products, how do they understand the basics of what they're getting into and the process that it takes to set up a merchant and to be involved in this thing we call merchant services?
Yeah, diving too far in can look a little intimidating, right? It's a complex business. I spoke earlier about how it's evolved and it's gotten simpler, and it has. But just like any business, and just like the business that you're currently in, if you're an expert at it, it might come easy to you, right? And but there's a lot of moving pieces to it, right? So getting into this business and understanding the terminology, I think, is the first thing to overcome. And that's something that we do a lot of, and that we've got one of the best coaches in the industry to come in to help you kind of understand more or less the foundation of this business, and more importantly, understand your business, right? For us, every partner is different. And so our goal is to kind of understand what your approach is, and then help you kind of go attack that as best you can without kind of combing through the entire payments landscape, right? Because if we go through the entire payments landscape, at the end of the day, you're a deer in headlights. You're wondering where you're getting started, and now you're even questioning why you jumped into this in the first place, because it's a lot of moving pieces. Whereas our focus is kind of making sure that we dive into what your focus is, looking at the types of merchants that you have and kind of where you're going to be looking at, and kind of steer you in that direction and help you become an expert in this part of the payment space. And then just evolving from there, right? So from a pricing standpoint, we'll help you with that. From a solution standpoint, we'll help you with that. And it can be intimidating, but our goal is to kind of bring you in, help you understand it specifically to the target that you're looking to go after, and then help you evolve from there. There's a lot of companies out there that are going to try to push their own payments onto your merchants, right? And I think that's just where if you've got these relationships, and what Nate's talking about with the trust factor, right? If you've got these relationships, jumping in and becoming a partner with someone like us, we can really kind of help you identify the landscape and the type of merchants that you have, and how you can really capitalize on those merchants, and not just financially gain from it, but also add a really good service to your current base, and add some adhesive to these clients, right? I think that's one of the bigger things too for all of us, is if we can add some more adhesive to our relationships with merchants, it goes a long way.
Lee, I'll give you this question. If we have, what's the sales process and the sales presentation look differently? Let's just use one of the people, maybe they've been selling marketing, and they've been setting up marketing campaigns or doing design work for them, or maybe they're doing their menus or their websites or whatever it may be they've been selling. How does that process look differently when they're selling that to when they're selling payments and saying, hey, in this case, this is what I mentioned. They've been selling things that maybe to people that are maybe card not present solutions versus card present. What are some of the things that might be different in the sales process, and what are some of the things that might be the same?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the sales process is the same, right? We all know how to talk sales. We all know how to talk to our merchants or our clients and figure out what their pain points are, what they need to be more successful running their business. That's going to save them some time, hopefully some money, things like that. Like Danny was saying, the big things we see over here, terminology, pricing, solution fitting, stuff like that. But that's what we're here for. That's what our team is here to help with. You don't, like he was saying, you don't want to dive too deep into trying to know everything, because you'll never get out the door to sell. I always joke that we're going to give you enough to be dangerous, right? We're going to give you enough to feel comfortable talking to your customers about it, but then we're here. You call us, you text us, you email us. We're here to answer your questions, be a second voice, help solution fitting. If you call me and you're like, they're currently using this and they like this and this, or they don't like that, we've got enough options available that we'll be able to go, okay, this is probably the right fit. And if it's not, then we'll try something else. Same thing with pricing, right? They're paying this, they like this, they don't like that, whatever the case is, between all of us here, we've got a team of a lot of experts, a lot of years of experience here to be able to help talk you through these things. And then eventually, right after 2 or 3 or 4, it's like riding a bike. You feel really comfortable with it. You feel really confident with it. You need us less and less, but we'll always be here when you do.
And I mean, we're here in the support. We're here to help them in the sales process, and we'll call it sales enablement. But we're also making sure that they have the support they need when their merchants are up and running, and they get a phone call at 8 o'clock on a Friday night because a terminal went down, or maybe there's some reason weird connection issue happened, or whatever else. Danny, what kind of support can they count on a team like PayProTec to make sure that their merchants are getting one of the things that is most important to them, their money in their bank accounts? How can they trust that we're going to be able to fulfill on that and make sure their clients are going to be taken care of?
That's a really good question, and I think it's something that everybody should be asking as you're looking into jumping into this business, right? Is it reliable? First things first, let's be honest, we are dealing with the movement of money. It's a sensitive topic, right? You've got to make sure you're with a partner that knows what they're doing, that has a history of doing it well, and that can really kind of make sure that we give you a good name too, because whenever they have an issue with the movement of their money, it's not going to be PayProTec's fault or our processing platform EPX. It's going to be John's fault, and you're John, right? Or whoever's listening right now. That's as a business owner, right? That's you're the first line of defense. And so it's got to be reliable. Not to say it's always going to be perfect. And I think you probably know in your business currently that, things can happen, things go wrong, but it's our goal to make sure that when they do go wrong, they're fixed quickly and swiftly. We're a part of a very large organization. Combined, we've got a little over 500,000 merchants that are processing payments in our ecosphere, and they're processing just over $100 billion annually. So to get to those numbers, you got to be doing it right? So you can kind of go into it with confidence that we've got the numbers behind us, we've got the history, we've got the systems in place, and we've got the solutions that you need to really sign up merchants, and you can rely on the fact that their technology and the movement of their money is going to work 99.9% of the time.
All right. So we've kind of talked about what the potential is. We've talked a little bit about the process, and there's lots more to go on, and we're going to set up an individual conversation to walk you all the way through this. We're trying to intrigue your interest into it, but really then at the end want to really talk about the payoff. And we kind of talked about this a little bit, that you're going to be making a residual and bonus income. But when we talk about this, let's put real numbers to this. What if they have let's just take merchants that are processing, go even numbers, $100,000, so $1.2 million a year. So $100,000 a month. Jason Lee, what can we expect from that one merchant? What would their residual income, potential bonus income? Obviously, not all things are equal. We can't guarantee this, but we're going to give you the right range of what these are. What is that opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, it is a right range, right? You, depending on pricing, depending on card types, all of these things, and this is where Danny and I were talking terminology, can get a little, overwhelming. But we typically estimate, right, that our partners are going to be earning, depending on all of these things, between 0.5% and 1% of that processing volume on a monthly basis. And Dan, jump in here too if I'm missing something. But on top of bonuses, we get them some solutions, get them some hardware. It's usually in the ballpark of between 0.5% and 1% of that total processing volume.
Yeah. And when you start looking at that, you're starting to think for $100,000 merchant, that can start looking like $1,000, $1,500 a month. And that just keeps going as that business, and as the business grows, that number grows. As the volume grows, the opportunity there to make some of that money. And so it's an opportunity there, but there's not just residuals. For those who may be looking for making a little more money up front, what are some of these things we call bonuses, and what does that look like? And what are some, we'll get even a little more into the weeds, that you can take bonuses and not take bonuses. Danny, can you kind of walk us through what the opportunities are there?
Sure. Yeah. We've got a lot of different revenue options. We let our partners choose, right? And it's something that we'll help you with as you're getting on and as you're kind of understanding the revenue opportunity for each merchant. We've got upfront bonuses up to $600 on every deal. We've got true ups that follow that, and that's a multiplier based on the first month's revenue. Every single revenue opportunity that we have comes with the residual on the back end. Like Jason Lee was talking about, we make money when we sleep in this business, and that's the residual revenue for every merchant. Now you can choose a lower residual split and get some of those upfront perks like the bonuses and the free equipment and things like that. Or you can just choose to get a higher long-term residual split, pay for equipment, and those types of things. But not to get too far in the weeds, just high level, talk to you about the different revenue opportunities that you have. We've got several different options. And I love talking about and really getting into the real dollars and cents as you're looking into seeing if this is even worth it, right? So Nate gave you $100,000 option. Let's even go down and be a little bit more realistic, right? A $20,000 or $30,000 merchant. The most popular program that we have is our dual pricing or edge programs. Like they were saying, making 1 to 1.5%. Even on that $30,000 a month merchant, you're making $400, $300 to $400 in monthly residual revenue. Now, if you've got a dozen clients currently that are doing somewhere in that area, right? You're looking at and let's go on the lower end of $300, and say you've got 12 of them, right? Those clients can typically be worth $3,500 to $4,000 in monthly residual right now. So you sign them up, and in the next 30 to 60 days, you're making an additional $4,000. Now on each of those as well, right? You got 12 accounts. You sign those merchants up, and say we're able to get them our pay anywhere solutions. and you're making $600 up front on a bonus on those. So that's $600. What is that? That's $7,200 in bonuses. So in just signing these 12 merchants that you think would be a good feel for this, you're making $4,000 in monthly residual revenue, and you're making over $7,000 in upfront bonuses. If you could tell me something that would make me another 10K before the holidays, I'd be interested in hearing it. So it's something that I think that it's really worth everybody's while to take a look at, right? When you start getting into and understanding some of these numbers, they can really build something significant. And it's something that you can feel rather quickly, right? You don't need a lot of merchants to necessarily see a significant amount of revenue coming in.
And depending what you're making, everybody's going to be different. Some of those already have some industries, maybe that they have some type of residual income. To my knowledge, there's certainly no one getting residual from insurance the way merchant services or payments can give. But maybe you're already earning some of those. Maybe you've been selling and you're a coach and you're already making a monthly stipend or whatever they're paying, and you have a monthly subscription fee. You're already doing this is additional. And on top of that, it's not there may be some hiccups sometimes. Things don't always go perfectly, but for the most part, 90% of the merchants that we set up, it's the Ronco feel. You set it and forget it, and you just watch them continue to grow their business, and you're already working with them, and someone was going to make that. Why don't you be the person that makes that? Right. As we kind of close up this conversation, we'll talk about how if they wanted to have more of this and go further into what it might look like to set up with PayProTec and to start selling merchant services or payments as part of their portfolio. But what do you think are some of the roadblocks or maybe stumbling points the people may find? What are some of the things that may be hiccups that we can help them ahead of time that might hinder their success in merchant services as they, add this to something they're selling? Anything that comes to mind that may be hiccups that may be something we can even help prevent for them?
I can think of a dozen. I mean, it's, there's a lot of things in our business that are going to be challenging for it to work properly, right? However, there are more opportunities than there are challenges, I would say. So that's not to say that every merchant that you guys have a relationship with or that you potentially want to sign up can be a good fit to work with, right? Some of them might be using a solution that is proprietary to a certain provider. Some of them might be using something very industry specific that only one company has. And that's okay, right? There's going to be challenges. There's going to be scenarios where you might not be able to board that particular merchant for any reason. But I'm telling you, there's more opportunities and more of those merchants that you are going to be able to set up than the latter.
Definitely.
And I think one of the things is the way I look at this right now is each day. So let's take the $400. You have a merchant each day. Somebody is making an extra $10 to $30 a day off the merchant that you've already are doing work with. And each day you lose. So you wait 10 days to set them up, or you wait a couple months, you're losing that income in behind. And there's an opportunity here to build something that is beyond just whatever you've been selling, whether it's insurance or marketing services or coaching or consulting or any of these things we've mentioned. And it's a huge opportunity to do that. Jason Lee, can you kind of walk us through what it looks like to kind of onboard with PayProTec? What it would look like if somebody jumps in? In fact, I'll throw this up as we go to it. Let's see, let me find my little... There we go. If you go with meetwithppt.biz, you can go to a calendar that's going to put you right with one of our recruiters, right of our people that are going to walk you through this. But Jason Lee, what does it look like to kind of get set up with PayProTec? And if they would say, hey, yes, I want to do this, I want to get started, what does that process look like?
Yeah, absolutely. And, there's a few things I want to tack onto what you guys were saying, right? What's the saying? The best time to start was 5 years ago. The next best time is right now. We jump in with both feet. But yeah, if you want to move forward, you want to hear more about us and our program and what we're doing here, go to that link, schedule a meeting with one of our team members. We'll talk a lot more in depth about those bonuses Danny was touching on. One of my favorite things, and I didn't want to interrupt you, Dan, was saying, helping a new partner in their first month or two, they board 3 or 4 or 5 deals. 60 to 90 days in, those deals get that true up, and suddenly they've got, they made 20 grand that month. It's so fun to call them and be like, what you doing with that extra 20 grand this month? So, those
Absolutely.
bonuses are really cool to kind of see play out. But you'll hear a lot more about our solution options, our support, our training. I think our training is second to none. We've got some amazing partner trainers here that will help you feel more comfortable with everything we have to offer. But then, yeah, we got a DocuSign agreement, goes super fast. Once we get that back, 1 to 2 days at max to get partner IDs, and we're off to the races. And especially in those first few deals, I always say we handhold, right? 5, 10, 15 deals to make you feel really comfortable, make sure things go smoothly, answer any questions you have. We've got a big team here. Myself, our trainers, Danny, Nate, our relationship managers. We've got a big team here to just help smooth everything out, make you feel really comfortable. But we're always going to be here. I joke, I've got a gentleman in Florida who I talk to more than I talk to my husband. That's just how he operates. It's how he runs his business, and it's great. We're friends at this point. But yeah, if you're ready to move forward, you want to hear more about our program, hit that link, schedule a meeting with one of us, and we'd love to talk more about it.
Yeah. All right. So as we close up, if you guys have any questions, we'll certainly take that. We'll watch that. But I want to ask Danny and Jason Lee, why should someone listening today go and schedule a meeting, get through the process, start jumping in? Why is today better than tomorrow? What's your final last pitch to say, hey, let's jump in, let's do this work together, let's add payments to what you have already been doing and helping businesses across the U.S.? Who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Dan.
Jason Lee, I think, said something that really hit home, right? What did you just say? Say it again, Jason. The 5 years. I love
best time to start was 5 years ago. The next best time is right now.
Next best time is right now, right? That's something that I think hits home to all of us. But really, it's something that if you've never considered this, and this is just kind of a new thing that you're just starting to think about it, listen to some of the things that we're talking about, and hopefully some of it hits home to you, right? If you've got business owners or businesses or friends and family that you currently have relationships with and have some trust with and can maybe sign up or even have a conversation about talking about this, do it. What do you have to lose? We've talked about a little bit about the numbers, right? And really how just a few merchants can really, bring in some significant revenue for you, and also enhance your relationships with those merchants. So don't just sit on these relationships and think, I'll do it next year. Listen to what Jason Lee said, right? And, try to jump on it now. And it's something that even if you don't sign a merchant up until next year, if you jump into our system, you sign up with us, you go through some trainings, you start to learn the ropes a little bit. This is something that you don't have any pressure doing, right? You've obviously got your current business, and this is going to be an add-on. Check it out, right? This is not anything that's going to cost you money. It can only help you. It can only make you money, and then also enhance your relationships with your merchants. So don't wait. Try it now. If you've got some opportunities, you got nothing to lose.
All right. And Jason Lee, what would be your final pitch?
Yeah, really just I think this time of year is perfect. Heading into the holidays, business owners tend to take a little bit of a closer look at what they're paying for, how much they're paying, especially then heading into tax season. So I think it's a nice time if they're already starting to look at like, oh man, my pricing for my payment processing seems really high, or maybe my terminal's not working as well as it used to. They're already starting to think about those things as they're ramping up to get busy for holiday season. So now is a good time to start talking to them about these things, for them, right? But then also for you, earn some extra income before the holidays hit, and then into next year, you've got a really good plan, and we can help, make that plan for 2026 as to, what your goals are and how we can help you achieve them.
Awesome. Well, I will use this one last time just to remind you that if you want to sign up, you can do this at meetwithppt.biz, or we're going to be sending several emails with you, including this replay. If you're watching this live right now, you can and you only caught the second half, you can rewind right now on YouTube if you want to and catch the beginning. You can do however you want to. We're going to send you some emails and reminders and maybe a text message. But at the end, what we're really committed to doing is helping as many people get into the game of payments. We believe that it is still, the revolution is happening, but there, like just today, that, where Salesforce is announcing that they have their own way to do payments. And what they're trying to do is disrupt I don't know what the number is, but the hundreds of billions of dollars that are being processed by the businesses that are using them, and they want a small piece. Don't let them take it. And we're saying we're providing that opportunity. We're giving you that opportunity to jump in. No matter what you're doing in the B2B world, we're here to add payments to it and walk alongside you and help you add a portfolio that'll help you grow for years and decades to come. Danny, Jason Lee, any closing words as we close out?
Nope, that was great.
All right. All right. We can't wait to see what some of these meetings are. I know about 30 of you are watching live, and even more will be watching afterwards. Thank you so much. If you guys have questions, I just looked over. We got a couple comments in here from our own people and just saying hello, but no questions. But we're here. You can email the partners at PayProTec.com. You can email Jason Lee at PayProTec.com or Danny at PayProTec.com. Or if you get, you want to just talk marketing talk and to figure out anything else, I'm always here, Nate at PayProTec.com. We're here. Just reach out. We're going to respond. We're going to walk along together. And we're going to see you succeed in payments, and we're going to see you take back those little pieces and continue to help serving the businesses that you're already helping as clients. Thanks, everybody. Have a great one, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.